The British Prime Minister's judgment has been called into question as the phone hacking scandal gets even more political. At a special sitting of Parliament, David Cameron was criticised for appointing a former News of the World editor as his chief media advisor. And he's been questioned over his cosy relationships with top News Corp executives. Here's Europe correspondent Philip Williams.
Rupert Murdoch left Britain a man humbled and shocked. A newspaper closed, a broadcasting deal scuppered, reputation tarnished. Now flying into the storm after a truncated Africa trip, the Prime Minister David Cameron. He's under pressure over his previous support for his former communications director Andy Coulson, who's been arrested over phone hacking.
With 20/20 hindsight and all that has followed, I would not have offered him the job, and I expect that he wouldn't have taken it. But you don't make decisions in hindsight, you make them in the present. You live and you learn, and believe you me, I have learnt.
That isn't good enough. Because people... It's not about hindsight, Mr. Speaker. It's not about whether Mr. Coulson lied to him. It is about all the information and warnings that the Prime Minister ignored.
In an emergency debate in the recalled Parliament, the whole issue of the government's closeness to the Murdoch empire was discussed, and the Prime Minister's friendship with the recently resigned Rebekah Brooks provoked this response.
I've never held a slumber party or seen her in her pyjamas.
The fallout from the Murdoch's appearance before the Parliamentary Committee continued after it was revealed the private investigator Glenn Mulcair, who was jailed 4 years ago for hacking, was still having his legal bills paid for by News International.
I don't know the status of what we're doing or indeed what his contract was or whether it still has any force.
It appears whatever arrangement was in place is now over. News International has now given the law firm it engaged to evaluate possibly incriminating documents permission to talk to the police, and they've had to put on extra officers to properly investigate an increasingly tangled web. There are now more than a dozen official inquiries into the media, the politicians and the police, vital institutions under pressure as never before, yet trust is an increasingly short supply. Philip Williams, ABC News, London.